Welcome to Science and Technology Briefing. The content of the briefing includes TPG Telecom's $4 billion fiber assets bids due diligence period expires. Spotify Premium to include free access to audiobooks in UK, Australia, China, the US and the dangers of a war of words over national decline. Ray Dalio says US-China relations are on the brink of red lines. First FT, US sanctions China-based network accused of fentanyl production. TPG Telecom's $4 billion fiber assets bids due diligence period expires. Reuters. TPG Telecom has stated that the exclusive due diligence period granted to rival Vasu's group for the $6.3 billion Australian dollars, $3.98 billion sale of TPG's non-mobile fiber assets has expired. Discussions between the companies are ongoing, with the consideration of the deal subject to change. Spotify Premium to include free access to audiobooks in UK, Australia. Reuters. Spotify is offering users of its premium services in the UK and Australia 15 hours of free access to audiobooks per month, with plans to expand the feature to the US later this year. The move is part of Spotify's strategy to diversify its revenue streams and compete with Amazon's Audible. Last year, Spotify launched its audiobook service in the US, and the company has set a goal of reaching 1 billion users by 2030 and achieving $100 billion in annual revenue. Spotify raised prices for its premium plans in several countries, including the US and UK, in July. China, the US and the dangers of a war of words over national decline. South China Morning Post. The release of the Mate 60 Pro by Huawei has been seen by many in China as a major tech breakthrough following years of export controls. China's state media has argued that the US's tech containment strategy has failed, while Chinese officials have denied US theories that its economy is in crisis. However, observers have said that such narratives could be dangerous and could further deteriorate US-China ties. The US's containment strategy against China is likely to be an ongoing trend, so China should focus on expanding its advantages in areas such as automation, 6G, and potential further chip breakthroughs. Ray Dalio says US-China relations are on the brink of red lines. Bloomberg. Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates, has compared Washington's restrictions on advanced semiconductor exports to China to the petroleum ban imposed against Japan before World War II. Dalio has warned about the risk of conflict between the US and China, stating that tensions could worsen as the US heads towards the presidential election in November 2024. He highlighted Taiwan as a potential breaking point in US-China relations, stating that if the US declared support for Taiwan's independence, it would be equivalent to a declaration of war. However, he does not see a war between the two countries as unavoidable. First FT, US sanctions China-based network accused of fentanyl production. Financial Times. The U.S. Treasury has imposed sanctions on 25 Chinese individuals and entities for their alleged involvement in drug manufacturing and smuggling, as Washington looks to tackle the spread of fentanyl. The Treasury claims that the individuals and entities were part of a China-based network responsible for manufacturing and distributing fentanyl, methamphetamine, and ecstasy ingredients. The U.S. Justice Department has also unsealed 8 indictments against 12 Chinese executives and groups, accusing them of producing and supplying fentanyl, methamphetamine, and other opioids. The U.S. Attorney General, Merrick Garland, said that chemical companies in China were the starting point for the global fentanyl supply chain. The U.S. has called on China to stop the flow of precursor chemicals from the country. Alberta CEOs in Ottawa to find common ground on energy, climate and economy. The Toronto Star. More than 50 CEOs, entrepreneurs, and industry leaders from Alberta are in Ottawa this week to raise the profile of their province and promote collaboration on issues related to energy, climate, and the economy. The delegation includes executives from some of Alberta's biggest corporations as well as startups from various industries. The group, called the One Alberta, One Canada delegation, plans to meet with several cabinet ministers and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The trip comes amid strained relations between Alberta's UCP government and the federal Liberals. Revolut strikes share deal with SoftBank to remove barrier to UK license FT. Reuters. Fintech company Revolut has reached an agreement with investor SoftBank to simplify its ownership structure, removing a hurdle to obtaining a banking license in the UK. The deal comes after months of negotiations, with SoftBank demanding compensation for giving up its priority class of shares. Revolut can only secure a UK banking license if it eliminates preference shares held by investors including SoftBank. Other investors, including Tiger Global Management and venture capital firm TCV, have either agreed to transfer their shares into a single class or are in final talks to do so. FTX's COO Wang agreed to be witness for U.S. authorities in Bankman-Fried probe, book says. Reuters. Former FTX COO Constance Wang has agreed to serve as a witness for U.S. prosecutors in their case against FTX founder and former CEO Sam Bankman-Fried, according to Michael Lewis' new book on FTX's collapse. The book, titled Going Infinite, The Rise and Fall of a New Tycoon, was released as Bankman-Fried's criminal trial began in Manhattan. Bankman-Fried is accused of embezzling money from FTX clients, among other charges. While several former members of Bankman-Fried's inner circle are expected to testify, Wang has not been named among them. The trial is expected to last 6 weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 degrees. Today, we've got an interesting mix of news, ranging from telecom deals to international tensions, and even a glimpse into the world of finance and fintech. Let's dive in. First up, TPG Telecom's exclusive due diligence period with Vasu's group for the sale of its non-mobile fiber assets has expired. Discussions are ongoing, and the deal's consideration may change. It seems like this one is still up in the air, and we'll have to wait and see how it unfolds. In other news, Spotify is expanding its offerings by including free access to audiobooks for its premium users in the UK and Australia. They plan to bring this feature to the US later this year. Looks like Spotify is taking on Amazon's Audible and diversifying its revenue streams. Who knew your favorite music streaming service could also be your go-to for audiobooks? Moving on to international relations, tensions between China and the US are escalating, with Huawei's Mate 60 Pro release being seen as a tech breakthrough in China. China's state media claims that the US's tech containment strategy has failed, while Chinese officials deny US theories of an economic crisis. But let's not forget, folks, war of words can be dangerous. It's important for both countries to focus on their strengths and find common ground rather than further deteriorating their relationship. Speaking of US-China relations, Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates, warns that these relations are on the brink of red lines. He compares the US's restrictions on semiconductor exports to China to the petroleum ban against Japan before World War II. Dalio believes tensions could worsen as the US approaches its presidential election in 2024, with Taiwan as a potential breaking point. But he doesn't see a war between the two countries as inevitable. Phew, let's hope it doesn't come to that. Shifting gears, the US is cracking down on drug manufacturing and smuggling, imposing sanctions on 25 Chinese individuals and entities allegedly involved in fentanyl production. The U.S. Justice Department has also unsealed indictments against 12 Chinese executives and groups. They're calling on China to stop the flow of precursor chemicals from the country. It's a serious issue, folks, and the US is taking action to tackle the spread of dangerous drugs. Now, let's talk about Alberta. More than 50 CEOs and industry leaders from Alberta are in Ottawa to discuss energy, climate, and the economy. They're looking to find common ground and promote collaboration with the federal government. It's always good to see different stakeholders coming together to work towards shared goals. Hopefully, they can make some progress on these important issues. Finally, in the world of finance, Revolut has struck a deal with SoftBank to simplify its ownership structure and remove a hurdle in obtaining a banking license in the UK. This comes after months of negotiations, with SoftBank demanding compensation for giving up its priority class of shares. It's a step forward for Revolut, and we'll see if they can secure that coveted banking license. And there you have it, folks. A whirlwind of news from different corners of the world. Remember, these are just snippets, and there's always more to explore and discuss. So, what are your thoughts? Do you have any burning questions or unique perspectives? Let's keep the conversation going, and don't be shy to share your ideas. Until next time, this is Dr. Six signing off from the 6 degrees. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.